Hi everyone, this is Richard. Let's talk about interface. So you might notice that in some of the documentation or some people's codes, you have this I in front of some word afterwards, okay? So what we'll talk about is an interface, and that's the standard way of writing, and for you to know that that is an interface. And notice the interface keyword. What is an interface? So if you think about it in just life, right? Interface, like for example, a user interface. It's what is presented to the user. It's not what happens behind the scenes, right? For example, let's say you walk into an elevator and you kind of know, because it's pretty standardized, when you hit the 1 and you hit the 2, there is some differences, but 2 means the second floor, 3 means the third floor, right? There's not much differences there. There are some small differences, like the ground floor versus the first floor, but generally speaking, you could probably figure out. But what they don't tell you is how these buttons, when you push them, how they're manipulated on the back end, right? You could change it. You could simply say the 2 button takes you to the 10th floor, but you wouldn't do that because that would violate like the user interface idea, right? To make it easy on the user, not harder on the user. So what an interface does is it's the documentation in code, the documentation of what the user should be exposed to. And the user might be another developer, right? Whoever is using that particular type of class. Let's give an example, okay? Let's create an interface. Get rid of that. How do you get rid of that? Oh, there we go. Interface iAnimal, okay? So I'm going to create an interface for an animal class, all right? And so what I'll say is I'll put some properties: color, legs, tail, and sound. So what I do is I use this as my interface. And so from now on, any type of animal that I create, I'm going to create a multiple, like a class cat. And so what I'll say is whenever I create a cat that implements iAnimal, the interface class, right? What I have to do is all of these things I have to actually implement. So I have to implement it here because it tells me that, okay, if I'm going to make a mistake and not implement some of these things, the computer will catch me. But what it's supposed to do is say, I have to create this class cat, and I have to create dog, create raccoon, create all of these classes of animals themselves. But I'm going to use a standardized interface, which is the iAnimal. So every single one of them will have, of my classes, will have the iAnimal interface. Okay, so what happens is when I create it, I know that the property is going to be color. Notice that I don't have to put public or private or something inside of here. I just have to just list them because it's just the interface. You cannot instantiate this. You can't say animal equals new iAnimal. You can't do that. Okay, it's kind of like a type of abstract class. And so legs, tail, sound. Notice here in the interface, though, you don't actually document, unlike, remember, the abstract class, you don't have to actually document what the methods actually do. You need the interface, the name of it, but you don't need to say what it actually, you're not supposed to say what it actually does. The interface, again, the name of it is down here in the class cat, and then that's what I actually use to implement to as a method for cat. All right, so this is just telling me what buttons to push, right? What are the properties? What are the methods? This is defining them. Now that I know what I need to do, this is how I actually define them, and I can give them values and stuff like that. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is for interfaces, this seems to be like this is the minimum you need. These are the interfaces. These are the properties and the methods that you have to push, the members. These are the members that you have to put in the next class that implements the interface every single time. You have to put all of them in there. You can't miss anything or else there's going to be a problem. Okay, that's not the purpose of interface. You can add things on top of it though. So notice that I have these things, but here I have int fur. I'm not sure why you would count the fur. That would suck. But anyway, the point is that you can add additional members that are not in the interface, but you have to include all of the interface in all the class members of the interface into the class itself. Okay, those are just the general rules. And so, again, this is just one of those, if you have a really complicated program where you need to get a lot of these other subclasses, you could sometimes forget about what happens inside of here. What are the members that I needed to do? It's very easy to forget. And so this is just one way for the computer to help you out along the way. And that's what a lot of these features actually do. Okay? Thanks.